Hi everyone, and welcome to ELN for another episode. Today is an incredible day for me because I'm with one of my friends, colleagues, a person of the past that I really respect and have learned a lot from over the years. And we're at the Marble Distillery here in Carbondale, and we are with owner Connie Baker. Thanks for being here.
Oh, it's wonderful to be back with you, Chris.
Well, you know, Connie, it's what you've done here is a pretty incredible thing, especially going through these times that we're going through. But we won't go there yet. But you know, I want to find out a little bit more about you and where you grew up, and what gave you the spirit of being able to be an entrepreneur.
Well, I'm a Jersey girl, and I would say there's never anyone from New Jersey that I met that I haven't liked. So there's something about us Jersey girls. But definitely my parents instilled in me an entrepreneurial spirit. Several of my siblings are also entrepreneurs. And it's just something we kind of all my whole family grew up always can-do people is the way I would describe us.
But you have all these building skills, these visions, and you see things and you can make them. How did you get that for a girl?
Well, that's interesting. So my dad, although he was a captain in the New Jersey State Police, he was always a builder on the side. Built our home, was always building projects. And because there were 4 girls in my family and 1 boy, we all grew up with a hammer in our hands. So all of us are incredibly handy, and I've spent a lot of time in the construction trades and building my own homes throughout my life and working on them. And so, yeah, super handy, which I'm really incredibly thankful for.
Well, then, when did you move to Colorado? What was the incentive?
So I came to Colorado in 1992, so I'm almost a local, and came from New York, and had met a couple on a trip that were living in Aspen, and they said, "Oh, come ski in Colorado," and ended up moving from New York to Colorado, and something I'll never regret. I love Carbondale. Moved right to Carbondale. Never lived in Aspen or Basalt. Always Carbondale.
Wow, and then you actually had well, we'll get there, but when you moved to Carbondale, did you start another business then?
Yeah, so I had a pharmaceutical communications business. I came from New York with a client, Pfizer, and it grew to quite a large company. We had a total of 26 employees, home-based here in Carbondale, but ended up having a second office back in Manhattan. So did a lot of travel back and forth to New York after I moved here, which was kind of ironic. But it enabled me to live here in the Valley and get to work with you. And we did a lot of fun projects, and you and I got to travel a little bit.
Well, wait, but see, you had, Pfizer was your client before you came here.
So
you were in that industry? How did you get into that marketing event industry?
So I worked for a company originally handling events for them, and then grew into the communication side of the business, and they handled pharmaceutical clients. And so when I moved here, one of my clients that I worked for with them said, "We really want to continue to work with you." So I just picked up that ball and ran with it, and ended up building a pretty large company here.
And that was before virtual.
Yes.
So
yes.
The experience that we had together was incredible.
Yeah.
FedEx made a lot of money from what
Yes.
we were doing, right?
Lots of plane trips, lots of FedEx. Yeah.
And you have probably some incredible stories that we can't even tell.
We have some funny ones.
It could have been a sitcom, right? I mean,
we actually wrote a script, remember?
Because of all the crazy experiences.
Crazy experiences.
In the pharmaceutical drug industry.
Yep.
Crazy people.
Yep.
Timelines. I mean, that taught me a lot. And just to go back a little ways, you and I, when we met, and I was doing video production, and this was in the early 90s.
Yep.
And a mutual friend of ours, Michelle, introduced me to you, Michelle Marlowe, and I had already been doing some pharmaceutical Fortune 500 videos, product launches.
Right.
And so then when we met, man, it was a whole different kind of gel that just felt good, and we all were on the same page a lot, and we did things that we didn't know we could do. At least I did. Incredibly
creative. I tell the story all the time about the one project that we did where one of the top dogs at Pfizer said to me, "Who on Madison Avenue created that video?" And I said, "That was done in Carbondale, Colorado.
In a basement.
By Versatile Productions." And they couldn't believe it. It was pretty incredible, high-tech stuff in those days.
Yeah, but which one was that?
That was the one with all the animation that we did. It was the launch of the neuroscience division annual, well, it was 5 different products, but it was their launch program, their annual launch program for the whole neuroscience division. And so it was a combination of Aricept and Neurontin and gosh, I don't even remember what other products.
Detrol LA.
It was a big one.
Viagra.
Yeah.
But, okay, so if I said right now Detrol LA, what was that for?
The drug?
The drug. What was it?
Incontinence.
Yes. And we were always doing drugs. A lot of them were drugs that weren't even on the market yet. They were coming out,
yep.
And you're educating all the
doctors
and the sales force.
The sales force.
Yeah, that was a lot of energy in 2 minutes, basically.
Yeah.
Right?
It was fun, right?
Yeah, it was fun. In fact,
spent a lot of time in that booth in your basement.
You would fly in and fly out. Do it. I'll be back in an hour.
Oh, gosh.
2 hours went by, 3 hours.
I'm still that way.
So so I was going to say Neurontin. What was that for?
Neurontin is for different kinds of pain. Yeah.
Aricept.
Alzheimer's.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Geez, we did some
heady stuff.
Heady stuff that still survives these days. So what was that one the one that says gotta go, gotta go, gotta
That's
go?
Detrol, gotta
that
go.
That was Detrol. That was part of Detrol.
Yeah, incontinence, gotta go.
All right, well, by that, I want to show you that Detrol video that we did.
Okay. Filmed in the canyon.
We filmed in the canyon. We filmed it all in Colorado. How can we do something we don't have to leave for? And I don't know how you guys are so creative coming up with these concepts and then sitting with me and say, can we do that? We did try, and we had a great 3D animator.
Yep.
Matt Hayes.
Yep.
And he's still here doing tattoos.
I know.
He's awesome.
Another Carbondale guy.
Let's go ahead and roll that video so you can take a look at the past.
Oh, the past.
Detrol LA.
You're gonna make me feel old.
So we had the 3D, and we can't play the music because the music was kind of, for small groups, we were okay to have this music, but it was copywritten at the time.
Right.
So
licensing.
We had the license. So here's an advertisement for the local dealer here because Audi had just opened up, and you talked him into giving you a car.
I don't remember that, but yeah. And I know that that's my husband, Kerry, driving the car at record speeds through the canyon.
And then we
on
had
TV anyway.
We had the 3D this into for our messaging, right?
Yeah.
Yep. And we went into the canyon and we shot the signs and we were able to put the graphics on the signs as if they were there.
Yeah. And I remember we played this to an audience of, I think it was the international team of the Detrol group at a giant, in a giant meeting room with all kinds of fancy lights and staging, and they just, it doesn't look that exciting, but they went wild.
This was exciting stuff at the time, pictures
She's
coming.
She's a
pictures
super
coming
famous doctor, by the way.
She still is?
Yeah. I'm sure she still is. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But she, at that time, she was their #1. And Debbie Reynolds, gosh, we don't even know if she's still alive, right? She's a famous actress.
I was wondering about that when I was looking at this, but we had all the graphics come up, and then we also had this was all animated.
Yeah.
And it was about messaging.
That's exactly right.
It was about messaging.
Communications,
and getting people on the same page, and they're like, yeah, we're going to go sell this drug. I can't wait.
They loved this. The team just thought that was the greatest thing that, they've ever seen. And then, of course, we have our little flippy Detrol girl. She's going to come up here in a second.
The truck.
The flipper.
Well, you had to develop the logos too, right?
We did do a fair amount of logo development. It was all about, like I said, we were considered a pharmaceutical communications company. So in addition to planning the event side of it, which we had a team who did that, we did a lot of messaging, writing, from medical writing through logo development and things of that nature.
Yeah, you guys are so busy, I couldn't believe it. But, so anyways, that was a future blockbuster.
So that would be, a blockbuster would be $1 billion product. And they were pushing, obviously, the team. I don't know, because I've switched from drugs to booze. But we'll talk about that later. But yeah, they were hoping that that would be a future blockbuster, similar to Viagra. Viagra was a blockbuster.
Okay.
We did a lot of work with Viagra.
Since you said Viagra, we have another video that we that I got to show you. And to me, that was, I remember we had about 10, 15 FedExes going back and forth and back and forth.
Yeah.
And the thing that I remember about doing this one was they wanted this to be sexy, and I think the competition was coming up or something like that. So they were really pushing, like, what do you call that when the licensing is over? Or
well, they have 7 years from the launch of a new product where they kind of own, you know, the patent on it. And so Levitra and Cialis were about to launch, and the team was, the whole push for the company was to, you know, show that we came up with a logo and a concept which was Viagra tried and true, you know, to show that we've been in the market, and you and I have done some crazy stuff.
So I remember, what I remember was that we did our first cut, and they wanted it all this way, and they just looked at it and said, "Oh my gosh, we can't do this." It was like a soft porn. It was too risque, you know. Yeah, and so we had to come back, and at that time we had to send for approvals. We dumped it on a VHS tape and we FedExed it
to New York.
Yeah, every other day.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, and then we wouldn't hear from them for 2 days.
Yeah.
And so we're going, oh, what do we do? What do we do? And then in the 11th hour, you need to make all these changes. And if in the production side of things, you know, it wasn't easy. It wasn't
like it is today.
No, it wasn't like
no digital.
No, we had to go back into our tapes and replay and roll and cut things out. You know, it's hard to cut things out and maintain the quality of the final product.
I remember we would send tapes to our New York office. They would walk it over to Pfizer on 3rd Avenue, and then we would sit and nail bite, waiting to hear the feedback.
Yeah, and I was just sleeping. All of us were sleeping, going, oh, whatever.
We had some late nights in the studio, for sure.
All right, well, let's take a look at this Viagra video that we did and see if the messaging was right here.
Blast
it
from
was
the
about
past.
energy and motion, which, you know, so... you guys are leadership. It's time to stay ahead of everyone, and
they got to pump up the staff.
But it's about teamwork.
Yep.
It was always about getting that team, and this was the animation that that was incredible, that Matt Hayes did, and. If you think about it, it's a train going into a tunnel. Yeah. But at the time, they were trying to tell everyone all the what do you call the benchmarks that they have gone through. Sure. Saying we're tried and true. So really, we're trying to make it so like they're the original. Exactly. You know, and the music here is pretty crazy music here. Yeah, I remember we used James Brown, Get It On Up. Yep. I can't remember all of them, but probably don't want to know them. But yeah, all of their key messaging that they can just you know, capture the momentum, right? For it's pretty funny. It's pretty funny. I don't, you know. Funny now. It's funny now, and I'm looking at it now, and I'm thinking, you're the one that gave me all these words. Wasn't me. It was from them to you to me, back to them. There's just. And then here was stock footage at that time. Yeah. Okay, and stock footage would cost us I mean, a clip like that was $5,000 to $10,000.
I know, it's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, and then we'd have to get the approvals for the stock footage, and you have to tell them what you're using it for. I hope, wow.
He was a big wig back in, when we were doing these programs. I don't know if he's still around or not, but he was definitely one of their top advisors, what they call on an advisory board.
And I didn't mean scary. It's just that it was, he came out of nowhere in the video. So, and she was probably a main user.
Yeah.
No,
Well, again, so we were obviously working with the international team because she would have been one of their international advisors at the time. That's why we would have featured her in the video.
Right.
Yeah, it's.
Have you seen enough?
You sure are bringing back memories, Chris.
I think we've probably seen enough. So let's move on. I hope. Wow, that was a little bit painful.
Did we actually do that? Did we actually build that video?
I know. But as you said, what was the crowd like? Because I was never there. Okay, I just built the videos and I sent them to you, and a couple times we had to satellite the video to you. Like I remember in Barcelona one time. Yeah. And it was like they made some kind of change at the very last minute.
Well, and we had another one. I don't know if you remember. I was in Sao Paulo, and I feel like this was you too. One of our physicians had a major heart attack, and so we had to satellite in his talk. And I'm literally on an island off of the coast at this tiny little hotel, and we're trying to get video equipment across on little boats, skiffs. I mean, it was insane. So the stuff that we've done.
That is the time that we had to. I had to get a satellite truck at my house, and took the beta cam and stuck it in there and sent it over like an hour before. Yeah, it was great. It was incredible times.
Yeah, and then you and we were in Hollywood at Lisa Gibbons' house, filming her in her living room, if you remember that.
What was that?
That was for Aricept.
Oh, Aricept.
For her mom was an Aricept patient, and she was kind enough to give us some time to do. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember a lot
hanging out in Hollywood with Lisa Gibbons, you and I.
Well, I remember a lot of times we jumped on a red eye from Aspen, and by the next morning, we're somewhere in New York doing an interview for 10 minutes.
Yeah,
and
crazy.
we're done. So times have changed.
Those were the days.
Yeah, those were the days.
Well, now everything's virtual. So
that's right. We don't have to go anywhere.
Which is great.
Yeah. They don't spend as much money.
We'll have to work on that.
So now we transition into your life here in Carbondale and the Marble Distillery, and tell me a little bit about how that came to you. I mean, you're like a chemist almost, now.
Well, I guess. Not that I'm a scientist by any stretch of the imagination. But, I've always had this fascination with vodka that, you can make vodka out of anything. Any kind of starch that you can convert to a sugar, break down and convert to a sugar, you can make vodka out of it. And I love vodka. And so probably I'm a little bit of a vodka snob. I like really good vodka. And so I just went to this distilling school on a whim, thinking it was going to be a hobby, and I fell in love and called Carrie and said, hey, we're going to open a distillery, and here we are.
Yeah, and what did Carrie think at the time?
I think he thought I was crazy, but he did buy me a 5-gallon pot still to play with. So, I guess he believed in me. But yeah, here we are. Now it's 5.5 years later. I mean, that was in 2010 that I went to school, but the businesses opened in 2015, and we love Carbondale, and it's the perfect place for the distillery, to be honest with you.
Well, tell me a little bit about the sustainability of what you've going into this from the beginning. Okay, it wasn't like an afterthought. You really thought this through.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, we've had a couple of people, one of them an MIT professor and an MIT entrepreneur, who came here, and we've had people ask us, how do you come at it as owners of a business building from the foundation this concept of sustainability, because it is something different, and it doesn't happen all the time. But you know, Carrie's a big green guy. Lived on the Hopi reservation for 7 years, and just when I came out of distilling school and we toured all these distilleries, we did see a lot of waste. It's rare. It's very unfortunate that the distilling industry can be so incredibly wasteful and use so much energy. And we decided we were just not going to do something that way. I want to make great vodka, but I don't want to destroy the planet to do it.
So go through a little bit of those bullet points of why it's sustainable from beginning to end.
So from the building itself, which has one of the lowest, what they call ZEPI, Zero Energy Performance Indicator scores of any commercial building. So from the building itself all the way through our entire production process and our water reclamation process, we have a first of its kind water energy thermal system where we recapture all of the water that we're using for making spirits. So a typical bottle of vodka takes 100 bottles of water to make that bottle of vodka. Our distillery takes the water that's in the bottle, nothing else. And so we're recapturing all of our processed water. We're harvesting all the energy off it because that water becomes very hot in the process. And so we're saving more than 4 million gallons of water a year on current production, and we're harvesting 1.8 billion BTUs of energy. So that's enough energy to power 20 homes, but we use it all here. So this entire facility, the hotel with 5 rooms, the tasting room, and our production facility uses less energy than a 2,000 square foot home.
Wow.
It's pretty incredible. We are the most sustainable distillery on the planet.
On the planet.
Yeah.
That means a lot.
Yeah.
And then if we go to Mars,
who knows when we go to Mars?
they'll be taking it to Mars because you guys have those little bottles.
There you go, yeah. Well, and if you drink them, you're helping to save the planet too, because
That's
you're
true.
drinking sustainably.
Yeah, just so you can.
So keep drinking.
Yeah. I do my best.
Thank you.
I say it's water, but it's really not.
Yeah.
So, tell me something about the idea of what the future is. How have you been navigating through this hard time? And I know you've been hit very hard personally.
Yeah.
But tell me about what's been going on.
So we, in early March, we instantly, when we closed before we got orders. We just felt it was safe for our team and our customers. And we started making hand sanitizer right away. There was a need in the community. We would come in the morning. At that time, we were making hand sanitizer in 5-gallon buckets with paddle bits on drills, and everybody had a backache because we're leaning over making hand sanitizer. But we would have a line literally down the block of people. We were giving it away to anyone who brought their own container. We had trouble finding containers. Now we're making it with a pharmaceutical grade mixer. I've gotten back to my previous existence a little, I guess. But we are making it in bulk and selling it to construction companies, to schools, whoever needs it. I mean, we have, we're supplying in large quantities because I think we're going to be having sanitizer needs for a long time. I mean, I don't know that anyone knows exactly what the future holds for us, a little bit of day by day, but we've pivoted and kept our team employed, and now we're back open in a limited capacity. But we're just working day by day to figure out what the future is going to look like.
Well, what I love about what you've done, and part of your mission was really use local resources for almost everything.
Yeah, our grains are grown a mile from the distillery by local ranchers. Bonfire roasts our coffee. Flying Dog Ranch grows our lavender. We are 100% of, as much as we can, shopping local, keeping everything's from within Colorado, but as much local as we can. We want to support the local community.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. That's awesome. So, favorite drink?
Ooh, that's a tough one because I have so many.
Favorite one to make?
Gosh, that is so hard. Well, the Moonlight Espresso is my mom's recipe.
Oh, it is?
Yeah. And so I love everything with our Moonlight, of course. So a really great espresso martini is
I actually
always
like
good.
that on ice cream.
Yeah, it's delicious
So I
on
make
ice
it,
cream.
yeah.
It makes ice cream better. We have one now called the Tipler, which is made with cucumber juice. So I feel like I'm drinking a salad. I really like that one. It's feels healthy. Your doctor would approve.
Well, and you're saying, it's like you're sanitizing out and in, right?
Yeah. Well, you should be sanitizing from the outside and the inside.
Yeah.
It's important.
Yeah, it is.
To drink sustainably and keep drinking. Now is not the time to stop drinking. Trust me.
Well, I know it's been, pretty tough times, and we've survived in tough times before. So we're pretty resilient.
Exactly.
You and Carrie are just an incredible team to keep moving this forward, and you have a community of support.
We do.
Because I know I've come here and in the early days and helped bottle and label, and that was some fun times.
Yeah, our volunteer bottling. I mean, we've scaled back on that a little now, working with just very small groups. But I feel the Carbondale community is so incredibly supportive of, supporting local businesses. We say that all of the people here who are buying craft, especially at this crazy time, they're our heroes. They have a choice to go out there and buy any kind of product they want, and when they're supporting us, then that helps us support the trickle-down effect of all the providers who are, growing our grains and all of that. So we all, as a community, have to work together if we want to keep, our community, some version of what it was before.
Yeah. And then, as far as your distribution now, that's grown.
So we're all over Colorado, everywhere, very well represented in Colorado, we do have some Texas distribution, Illinois on an online app. We're working, really trying to work on some e-commerce so we can distribute at a more national level, because we have so many people who come visit Carbondale, stay at the inn. And then they ask us, where can we get your product when I go back home? So we're working on that.
That's great.
Yeah.
And then the inn, we'll talk about that just for a minute.
Yeah.
Was a really cool concept.
First of its kind in the world.
Yeah, tell us.
Yeah. So 5 rooms actually located in a working distillery. No one else had done that before. It was a challenge building it, from a code perspective, but we did it. And we also wanted to offer basically luxury lodging in Carbondale, which was something we never had here before. We have, fabulous restaurants, great galleries, shops, spas, but we didn't have a really nice place to stay. So we have the 5 rooms, and we just installed ultraviolet lights in all the ductwork. So for bacteria-free rooms, that was a big commitment that we made, but we felt, again, for the safety of our guests and our team. So you can come and stay here and feel good about staying here. But it's something else special about Carbondale, that we have this great place to stay, and we say you can sleep with the stills. Stumble upstairs after you've had a few cocktails at the Marble Bar.
Yeah, it's an easy transport.
Yes.
Yeah. So is there anything else? How do people get a hold of you? You have many ways, but you might as well.
Well, marbledistilling.com can always find us online, and come see us.
Yeah, and you guys are always showing recipes and everything, right?
Yep, we have a fabulous team of mixologists. Taylor Roll is our new general manager here, and she's creating craft cocktails that are just pretty incredible. I can create the spirits, but I need those mixologists to bring it to the customers, and in a format that really showcases the spirits beautifully. And so we have some incredible craft cocktails right now in the tasting room. You should come down and enjoy, and lots of outdoor seating.
Nice.
Yeah.
Connie, thank you.
My pleasure.
Thank you very much.
Fun to step back in time with you.
Step back in time and then see the future.
Yeah.
We'll
see where we go.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So thank all of you for joining us here at ELN today and staying connected with our community. We'll see you next time.